session on non-timber forest produce and women. As you all know, just to highlight two or three things about non-timber forest produce economy, markets, and women. You all would be familiar to this. It's just to reiterate once more that NTFP economy or NTFP trade, it directly addresses the most vulnerable sections of the society, especially the tribal women. So working on it has a direct connection with the poorest of the poor of our country. So we can be sure that people who are going to collect NTFP are the people who are the weakest, and thereby they are the ones who have very little negotiating ability in the market. So that's one reason why the NTFP trade becomes so important. At the same time, non-timber forest produce provides a very important safety net to the marginalized communities, whether it is in terms of food, in terms of nutrition, in terms of incomes, and especially for women, because commons, they are basically the source of non-timber forest produce. They are they are one resource that are accessible to women very easily. Even if she gets married, she goes to another village, she can access those resources without a hassle, which does not happen with a private resource. So non-timber forest produce economy is very vital for both the marginalized section of our society and especially tribal women, with many of you are already working, and I don't have to emphasize more. The third important connection that I want to make initially is the connection between non-timber forest produce trade and biodiversity. The more you see non-timber forest produce diversity in a forest, more diverse it should be. So it has a direct connection with biodiversity, something which is less appreciated. We know that many of our forests are getting converted into plantations or single plant or single tree kind of forest, but it is that angle also that makes NTFP markets another reason to conserve biodiversity. So we want to see this discussion that helps all these dimensions, which are social, ecological, and economic in nature. So with that, I also introduce our moderator of the day, Shri Shiv Kumar, co-founder of CMS Group. And thanks a lot for agreeing to that, and I hand over the stage to you.
Thank you, Ishan. Good morning, rather good afternoon to all of you here. I have been chosen to moderate not because of my deep knowledge of NTFP, but the ability to have a deep conversation. And I would have, truly believed that I should be standing there, but unfortunately, I'm told this is fixed. So please apologize in advance that I'm standing in a high podium and talking to you. Please imagine I'm there, right, with you. That said, I just wanted to take a check around the room because we all are interested in NTFP. That's why I'm assuming you come to this room, unless you wandered here by mistake. And I know I don't need to explain NTFP to any of you. All of you are very, very familiar with it. But I just wanted to check what kinds of organizations we are all here, which may be curiosity for you too, because there's quite a wide variety of people that Ishan and team have put together. So to just begin with, I'm going to talk of a label. Tell me if it makes sense, so please put up your hands. Buyers of NTFP? Okay, one. Probably half hand, okay. Okay, buyers of NTFP. No, I don't mean as a consumer. I'm talking about in wholesale for, export, right? So thank you, sir. Then second category I want to call out is from the government. Okay, the 3-4 of you from the government, wonderful. Just when I'm calling this out, just look around the room so you also know who we are called here and who have come here. Financials, Okay, there are 3 financials. Keep your hand up, don't feel shy. So that others can look around, so know who is around this room. Certifiers? Only 1 certifier. So you're going to certify the session, sir, whether it's going okay or not. Labelers? Any labelers? Okay, 1. Only 1 labeler, okay. Researchers? Academicians? 3, 4 of you. All right. Any other category that I missed out? NGO, okay. NGOs, thank you. Intermediaries, sorry, I should have called out intermediaries who are also acting between the community and the forest produce. FPOs, yeah. Anybody from FPO? Okay. Any FPO? All right. So here's a wide variety of people. Is there any label that I left out that you would like to call out? Producers, okay. Any producers here of NTFP? Collectors, okay, right. That's what I thought. That's an oxymoron to say it's NTFP. All right, I have 3 requests to make. Other than the mandatory, please keep your mobile phone on silent. No problem at all in this room because signals are bad. So you don't need to worry at all, right? Other than that, we may come from various angles to NTFP, and the reason we have gathered together here is to have a deep conversation. How do we make NTFP work? Right, and I'll say work for whom a short while from now. We may come from different contexts. We may be dealing with one commodity, right, like honey or honge, but we may also be dealing with one type of community or context. I may be from Jharkhand, but when we're having the conversation, I would like you to be as generic as possible, drawing down from the lessons from there. Otherwise, it will become only about one commodity, right? And because of the variety within NTFP, you will agree with me that talking about one commodity itself, we can all be here for 3 days, right? There's so many complexities. When you speak for the first time, and I won't be talking for long, we are not going to be having a conversation. When you speak for your first time, please introduce yourself. Briefly, name and organization. Thirdly, when you make a point, I would like you to make it brilliantly. What I mean by that is within 30 to 50 seconds. Why? Because that is scientifically proven. If you speak for 30 to 50 seconds after a bit of thought, you are likely to make a big impact, which will help others also think, right? Not that we don't have much to say, there's a lot to say. So keep it brilliant, not necessarily brief, right? Next slide, please. So what are we here for? I'm going to dive into that shortly. How many of you directly deal with communities who benefit from NTFP? Sir, I know you mentioned. Okay, can I ask one of you to name a indigenous woman who you have come across or you worked with, who has inspired you, or who struggles with the NTFP collections going down? Can you tell us a story of one woman who is dependent on NTFP? Yes, please. You have the mic, Pastor. And when you tell the story, I want you to get her here.
Yes. So, I'd like to introduce you all to Janki Devi. Janki Devi is from Gumla, Jharkhand. She is one of our village influencers who helped us in procuring around 3,000 kgs of Pongamia Benat, also known as Karanj, in this season. She is someone who fought with her husband, her family, who were not allowing her to go outside and collect the produce from other collectors. But finally, she struggled it all, had a fight and everything, and she proved it. And now she is acting as a cluster teacher with Viva. And she's someone who has bought a new scooty and has new ambitions that this year, sir, I'll be the catchment area from 15 villages, I'll be 30 villages. So okay. This is something.
Janki Devi from
Gumla.
Sorry, spell that again.
Gumla, Jharkhand.
Anybody else would like to? Yes, sir, please. Begin with your introduction on this, please.
So my name is Justin, and I'm coming from Kotagiri, which is actually 30 kilometers from Ooty, because many people know Ooty but not Kotagiri. So we are from the Nilgiri Biosphere Reserve as well. So I'm going to talk about a woman who is again called Janaki. So we call her Janaki Amma, and she's from the Kurumba community, which is also a PVTG. And she is a NTFP gatherer, and she started her life also as a single woman raising 4 children. And after, we started a producer company in 2013 with 14 shareholders. Now it has become 1,809. for which she has done a very pivotal role. And she actually, last week she had passed away, but she became the board of director of the producer company. And she has brought together all the people from the NBR. And I think now the company is also running very successfully. And we've also created a new model, just like the same company. And she's played a very, very big role. And she's also a natural healer. So that's a story. Yeah.
Thank you. So 2 Jankis. Sir, you're from Keystone Foundation, I guess. Okay, thank you. Because you said Kotagiri. And those of you who are film buffs, any of you like Sai Pallavi? Any fans of Sai Pallavi? All right. She's from the same community, by the way, who refuses to wear makeup. And I'm a big fan of that. All right. Any other story? I would like not only a indigenous leader, but if you can tell the story of somebody who day to day depends on NTFP. Yes, ma'am.
So myself, Namita from FES. I recently had a discussion with a Ruchi. Ruchi is a NTFP collector from Jajpur area, and she told the story that she is a traditional NTFP collector. So now she is also a SHG leader. Her SHG is linked with the MFP Federation. MFP Federation have recognized the SHG as a Hard Bazaar collector SHG. So they started collecting from the Hard Bazaar. They also got the information from Federation that if you collect the imli, we will buy some quintal of imli from you.
Right.
But they said that, but when they have collected all the imli in the season, they refuse to take it by. So they booked the very lost the Ruchi Bai, and so they are doing it in a traditional way, but when they want to start in a big way as a collective enterprises, the first experience was really failed, but they are still figuring out how can they make it next year.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you. So this is the story of Ruchi Bai. One last story of somebody who is consuming NTFP largely, not only doing the market supply. Yes, sir. Mic over there, please.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Dr. GPS Jha. I'm an ethnobotanist from सेवा मंदिर उदयपुर राजस्थान. राजस्थान के उदयपुर जिले में एक महिला है जिसका नाम प्रतापी बाई है. प्रतापी बाई इज ए फोक हीलर, ट्रेडिशनल हीलर है. लाइक 1980 से वो अपना काम कर रही है. शी गॉट दिस नॉलेज फ्रॉम her father, and then now she is taking forward this knowledge using largely medicinal plants, जड़ी बूटी उसके अपने फॉर्मुलेशन में. और डे टू डे वो आज की तारीख में उसका लगभग 20 से 25 पेशेंट इज एवरी डे कम्स टू get treatment from her, and she is specialized for this uterus prolapse and bone fracture healing, and others also she dealing with the other elements for that. Thank you.
Thank you. Pratibha Bai.
Pratapi Bai. Pratap se Pratapi Bai.
Last one, please. And I have to give you a statutory notice to all of you. I'm a South Indian, so although I can speak Hindi, you don't want me to speak in Hindi. But I can understand Hindi, Tamil, Kannada, of course English. So please feel free to speak in any of these languages. Any other language also, we will have the translation. Yes, sir.
Myself, Vidyut, I'm from Spread. Spread is working in south of Odisha, Koraput district especially. I know many women, those who are dependent on NTFP. I'm especially talking about Malati Naik. She's a old lady, and she's a widow, and her life completely dependent on NTFP, from consumption to selling also. Like she collect 25 varieties of leaves, green leaves, for cooking, making food. Then this sal tola is locally they told, they're extracting oil from that tola. Then mahua. Then lot of roots, I mean there, she is harvesting. At the same time also tamarind is there. So I mean her whole life, widow, she is a widow, collecting and also selling in the market.
And consuming also.
Yeah, consuming, especially consuming, then also selling. It's her entire life is dependent on forest.
Thank you. The reason I asked this question is that we are going to have 5 of them join us in this conversation. You can imagine that they are in this room, right? And I'm going to ask those people who spoke not to say this. What are the 5 names we mentioned? Sorry? Mal. Okay. So let's keep all of the 5 in our minds because we are in service of them in this 1 hour that we have. And I'm going to frame the issue so we can actually start having the conversation. The first is, how can NTFP lead, right, to inclusive and sustainable economies? This is a broad statement, okay? Next slide, please. Now let's break this down a little bit. How can NTFP actually benefit indigenous communities and the ecology? Not just one against the other, right? And how do we do this particularly for indigenous women who are highly dependent? 80% of indigenous women are dependent on NTFPs, that we know, right? Next slide. This is the last slide, right? We're going to be talking about what are the challenges, what are the solutions, and what are the collective action that we all together need to come together. Because if you look at the room, we are a mix of people, right? We will need to come together. At least some of us need to come together if this has to be a reality, right? What are the collective action are we looking at, right? So shall we start the discussion? Or you want more slides? Anybody want more slides? No? Okay, good. So the rules of the game, as I said, put up your hand, a mic will come near you quickly. Make your point. When you're making your point, introduce yourself and the organization. Speak brilliantly, right? Which means in 30 to 50 seconds, make your point. All right? Okay? Thank you. So, yes, sir, over to you. Can I first see some hands up? Who would like to talk about challenges? Quite a few. Okay, go ahead, sir.
So I am Ganapati Bhatt from Manuvikasa, an organization working in Karnataka. We are working with Siddhi tribes. They are facing the challenges of tiger reserves. Their resources are declining and they are not allowed to enter the forest because of the tiger reserves, elephant reserves and other forest rules and regulations.
So access itself is becoming a problem.
Access and also the lack of resources in the forest itself.
Is it
The forest types is becoming change and monoculture is happening in most of the areas, and their natural species is disappearing.
Okay, thank you. Yes, please. Let's finish one round.
So one is, it's a takeoff from our other session. How do we ensure that outsiders come and don't get access to the, compared to the people who are traditionally always dependent on the NTFP? The second, and it could be in this case NTFP, but it could be even fishing, like we discussed. The second one is, significantly when it's inclusive is something, but sustainable is very important thing, because that means there is some, the value chain, that they are getting a higher share of the value chain and the value chain is as efficient as possible. So that you have a sustainable market, which may depend on subsidies to a certain extent, but after some time you might have to make them self-sustained. So there I would say both standardization and scale become extremely important.
Sure. We'll come to the solutions later.
Yeah, I don't want to get into it. Third challenge is the IPR, because she was talking about Jadi Bhutia and people come to her and all that. When anybody, it's a goal new, and that some protection has to be given to people who have that access. Then of course it comes back to the question of margins.
Right. Your name and organization.
I'm Usha Thorat. I'm a board member of the FES.
Thank you.
Hello everyone, I'm Dr. Suresh Garola. I'm Forest Stewardship Council's country director. So FSC is promoting sustainable forest management globally. So the first challenge would be sustainable management of the resource itself. All we are focusing on development of value chains, etc., etc. But what about the resource which is depleting very fast, and the gentleman here has mentioned about that. There are certain solutions on paper at least. For example, working plans related to the forest areas are there, but they are not focusing on NTFP augmentation specifically. And the second challenge would be unsustainable and destructive harvesting of NTFPs, not to optimum. Many a times it is premature harvesting, it is excessive harvesting and destructive harvesting. So how do you ensure that the NTFP that you are harvesting does not damage the resources?
Sure. Thank you.
Yeah.
Can I take a minute just to explain to all of you the kind of filters we are going through, right? We are all commoning, and within commons there are many areas. Usha ma'am, one of the points that you made is also fisheries, right, and water bodies. But in this room, we are going to be talking about forests and NTFP. And within that, we are talking about how do we make this work, both for the ecology as well as for the community, right? So just wanted to frame it, because we could go into other areas, but we will stick to NTFP for now. Yes, sir.
Good morning, all. I'm Dr. Sarvepalli Badri Narayan. I'm Senior Advisor at Dabur R&D. I'm in this field for the last 35 years. Dr. Gairala is here. He's the senior most forest official. What basically thing missing is, of course, we have been debating for over the decades, the inventorization of the resources. That is the fundamental thing which is missing. And we have been talking, I'm sorry, for the last 2-3 decades. That had to happen. Though some states have done it, but the fundamental, unless you know the resource of what you have in your backyard, you can't do anything else. Sure. The second one, I'm thinking, is the capacity building. The very crucial, suppose I just talk about the triple item, the major NTFP in the country. Even now, people doesn't know how to just post-harvest processing of the Haradwire. It's still a big problem. So unless we do hand-holding of these resources, we're not going to reach anywhere. Thank you.
Thank you. Again, a quick reminder, we're going to come to solutions in the next 20 minutes. So stick to the challenges. Yes. Please. We're coming to you, sir. Shruti, can we go for the next mic there? So let's finish and then we'll go.
Yeah, myself, Vidyut, I fully agree with sir, there is lack of inventory of the resources. The second thing is in NTFP, the distress sale is a big issue. So, because there is a distress sale, because there is no infrastructure to store, if they will store for 1 week or 2 weeks, the price will be doubled. Then the third most challenging is the getting finance for it. They need working capital. And most of the time, you just can't imagine, tamarind trees are sold before the fruiting came. So it's a heavily dependent on the middleman credit thing that is also happening. Then the access to market is a big issue, value addition, and enterprise development, especially.
Okay, thank you. We have one person here and then we'll go there, please.
Myself, Dr. Satish, गढ़चिरौली, महाराष्ट्र. पिछले 10 साल से CFR ग्राम सभाओं के साथ काम कर रहा हूँ और शुरुआत तो जो मुख्य चीज़ें थी तेंदू और बाम्बू का मार्केटिंग खुद ग्राम सभा करने लगी, उसमें जो चैलेंजेस थे धीरे धीरे कम हुए, लेकिन बाकी NTFP है उसमें भी शुरुआत अभी है. एक तो बेसिकली ट्राइबल्स को कभी बिजनेस या मार्केट इसमें कभी रहा नहीं ट्राइबल, और उसको हमको, क्योंकि उसको तो एक्सचेंज वाली बात मालूम थी कि एक चीज़ दे दे और दूसरा ये करे, तो कभी वो उसने मार्केटिंग या बाजार इस प्रक्रिया में ही कभी ट्राइबल कम्युनिटी नहीं रही. उसको जब हम इस तरह के बाजार और मार्केट के साथ में जोड़ते हैं तो बहुत सारी कैपेसिटी बहुत अलग तरीके से करने की आवश्यकता है. तो हमने 2-3 एक बात जो कही थी, सस्टेनेबल हार्वेस्टिंग भी बहुत आवश्यक है. कुछ लोगों को बिल्कुल पता है, कुछ महिलाओं को पता है कि ये चीज़ कैसे निकालनी है. जैसे जड़ी बूटी के बारे में जो वैद्य है, ट्रेडिशनल हीलर्स है, उनको पता है कि ये जड़ी बूटी कैसे निकालनी है, कितनी निकालनी है ताकि वो सस्टेनेबल रहती है. लेकिन पूरे कम्युनिटी को इसको पता नहीं, और कोई इंडस्ट्री बोल देती है कि ये जड़ी बूटी आप निकाल के दो तो पूरा का पूरा निकाल दो. तो सस्टेनेबल हार्वेस्टिंग मेथड्स हमको उनको सिखाना, वो एक्चुअली है उनके इसमें, लेकिन वो बताना हो. जैसे हनी का है, हनी का जो रॉकबी हनी है उसका इको फ्रेंडली हार्वेस्टिंग मेथड है कि जो उनको हमने सिखाया, और पिछले 10 साल से वो लोग इस तरह से निकालते हैं. तो हनी का क्या रोल है पूरे फॉरेस्ट्री में, और जो पहले जलाते थे उसको निकालते थे, तो वो सारा मेथड सिखाते वो करके फिर धीरे धीरे वो मार्केटिंग में वो आए हैं. जैसे हरडा की बात कही है, तो दूसरा ये भी है कि बाहर के लोग जैसे ये ग्राम सभा को मिले तो ग्राम सभा नहीं कहता है कि ये नियम कि कोई बाहर का नहीं आएगा, बाहर का कोई भी नहीं आएगा, लेकिन वहाँ के कम्युनिटी को भी हमको इस तरह से सिखाना पड़ेगा. That will be sustainable harvesting.
That's Dr. Usha's point also. I'm going to take a quick poll. Yes, sir. You have been asking for the mic. Well, the mic comes to you. Quick poll. How many of us feel indigenous communities don't know how to sustainably manage?
I introduced already, I think.
How many of us feel that? How many of us feel that market pressures and their own livelihoods pushes them to over-harvest and follow unsustainable practices?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to do polls like this so that you also know. By the way, we can disagree. That's not a problem. You can have a different point of view. Let's feel comfortable with that. Yeah.
Yeah, thanks. Don't need to introduce, I think. So, a major challenge is the market. There is no synergy between electors and buyers. There is many government programs are going on, like Minor Forest Produce Corporation are there, PM Bandhan Kendra are there. There is no exactly the market channel is there. Really, really bigger issue among the grassroots level. Thank you.
Thank you.
You are not looking this side.
I'm not looking at that side. No, okay.
Excluded.
Sorry. This is fixed. Yes, Agreed. Go ahead.
Yeah. One of the things that I see, particularly if you have to harvest this produce within ecological thresholds, the institutional models that we have, there's a big gap there. Sole operating value of a farmer producer organization or a cooperative is to make profits. Yeah. And there is no governance mechanism like a panchayat that these institutions are subservient to. It's a mismatch between the governance function of the natural resources and the extracting kind of industries. You can blow it up to the national level too.
Right.
It's on the local level.
Right. So, can I expand it a little bit more? There is almost like a suction pump of a market which is looking at produce to be produced efficiently. And I really love the point in the plenary that it's marketplace, it's not just a market, right? And then on the other side, if there is a governance failure, then these two together can be disastrous. Yes, ma'am. I will be partial to that side, sir. Just hold on. Otherwise, I'll get criticism.
Just to build on that, there is also no corporate regulation on ESG. Are there specific things about what the companies can do on NTFP and how they should be more inclusive? So there's no governance even from a corporate perspective.
Thank you. The E and the S and the G are Haji. Any other points in that fact? Unless
Myself Sarthak Tyagi from Gram Sudhar Samiti, and my organization is working in northeastern Madhya Pradesh, and we are working with 3 tribes on NTFP. Mawasi tribe, which was totally dependent upon herbs and for their livelihood. Baiga tribe, which were dependent upon Mahua, Chironji, Amla for their livelihood, and Gond tribe. So basically, I wrote some points, and the major point is middlemen's exploitation in this market access and pricing, and second is environmental degradation also, because we have seen that unsustainable practice has led to degrade the forest ecosystem, and second is climate change also, because due to climate change, the growth and availability of NTFP is also affected. And other point was that traditional knowledge erosion is also increasing day by day. And policy level, that bureaucratic hurdles, like we worked under the Green India Mission of Forest. So we asked Forest Department to set up a unit of Chironji. So they set up, but later DFO got transferred, so everything changed. So this is one of the major problems while working with Forest.
Which means changing government. Okay. Okay. There are 2 mics. Where are the 2 mics? Can I see them? One over here, one over there. So, Shruti, and you need a runner, right? I think we need one more runner. Any other volunteers to Preeta, if you can help? So, being very nice to both of them. They both are going to decide who gets the mic, not me. Okay? I'm delegating it to both of them. Preeta, Shruti, whoever you think should get the mic, and maintain gender balance and also roles. Okay. Oh, mic was taken away. That's not fair. Please, sir. Right.
Hello. Myself, Dr. G. P. Kimoti.
Hold the mic close, please.
Hello. Myself, Dr. G. P. Kimoti. I am working as a head QC lab in Noida. Basic problem in NTFP, identification. Identification is one of the major problem in collection. Suppose we have the two species in Arjuna. Arjuna, one of the Terminalia Arjuna, and one of the Terminalia Tomentosa. Another is a Bala, the side of Cordifolia. So many species. Bala is the four species. Bala, Nagbala, Etibala, Mahabala. What species our collectors collecting? This is the major problem. Another is that Nagkesar. Nagkesar is the one of the major crop in the northeast. But we are using in another species in whole industry. This is the major problem in NTFP.
Okay. So there is a market and species mismatch, is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Adulteration.
Sorry?
Adulteration.
And adulteration, okay. Pooja, you had a point, do you want to finish that? Sorry, I didn't allow you to go for it.
So just
Can she finish that, please? Go ahead.
I think I was waiting for the sum up, but he brought out the point of wildlife and human conflict, also arising because of climate change, because and the forest, the deforestation being happening.
Sure.
So women and men, they have to go further deep in the forest.
Sure. Yes, sir. Over to you.
This is Vineet Bade. Good morning, all. I'm working with DS as head of the procurement, and the challenges what we are facing is basically with the NFTP is that or any of the farmer group or the farmer is that when we want to help, we want to buy from the farmers or many of the SHGs or the NTFPs. But the problem arises that we see the viability. Since we are the buyer and we are in the market, we have to serve the quality produced to the people in the packaged form to the market. And viability is the most important aspect in all the companies actually. Any of the companies, you talk about the Dabur or ITC or the DS or MDS or anyone, viability is the most important point. And in this, the major challenge what we found is that accumulation of the whole produce at one time is very difficult. We are getting the produce from different sources at different points, and accumulating them makes it a cost, right? And when we bring it to our processing center, it is pretty high than what we are getting it from the market at the processing point. So there is almost 15-20% or more than 30% sometimes the cost difference. So as a viability, it is very difficult for us to really make it or accept that kind of produce in our total whole ecosystem.
Sure.
And second is also the quality what the farmers they are procuring, but they are not able to, even if we want to have a truckload of one quality of one produce. First is very difficult. From one point we can get the one whole truckload, and we don't get the kind of the grade or the quality at one point. So that is also one very important point. So what many of the people said that the capacity building in terms of that grading the material and bringing it to the market is also a very important point for the people who are working with the people, I mean for the backend women or the farmers or the small collectors. So they should have a capacity building also in terms that they should understand that what is the grading and the quality the market is accepting and what is the market they are getting.
What is the requirement essentially? Okay, thank you. Great points. Another quick poll. How many of us feel intermediaries are evil people, they should be got rid of? How many people feel intermediaries play a role, but that needs to be more positive? It's boringly one-sided. Okay. Thank you. All right, back to. See, that's why I gave up on this.
Thank you, ma'am. So, this is Shivan from Tavika, and the 3-4 problems which I am sharing is the price which we are paying for Pongame Panata Karan is way 30-40% margin above MSP, but the price realization by the collector is very less. So that is the one problem which we face. Traceability is the other problem which we are facing. Third is the transactions which are happening with the collectors are in cash. So that is something which we need to address. And finally, we are able to understand with the help of McKinsey that there is 1 million metric ton of beans across India, but we are able to get only 5,000 metric ton this year. So we want more and more areas to know about and get connected with us.
Thank you.
Hi,
My name is Nidhi. I work with Forum for the Future, and I'm reflecting on the question which has been put to us, which is NTFP benefiting the people who depend on them. And the conversation that I'm hearing, it seems to be one-sided, because when we talk about gender, we are only talking about women here, we're not talking about men. And that is where I feel the conversation needs to be a bit more inclusive, because we are at a risk of stereotyping here, because we are talking only of women. When I hear of stories, I hear women being collectors, but when we talk about finances, we talk of men when we are talking of finances. So I want to avoid that risk of stereotyping, and that's a challenge which I feel is there in the conversations that we are having.
And also we run the risk of further stereotyping. There are hands in the back, Rita.
We have few financiers also. So
Yes.
request Bhatt sir.
The money people speak the last.
मैं कुछ भाषा के चैलेंजेस पे बात करना चाह रही थी कि हम अक्सर क्या हम वन उपज बोलते हैं, तो वन उपज बोलने से ही वो वन हो जाता है. सो मेनी पीपल थिंक दैट, और आई थिंक गवर्नमेंट स्पेशली फील दैट इट इज़ अ फॉरेस्ट डिपार्टमेंट रिस्पॉन्सिबिलिटी टू टेक केयर ऑफ द वन उपज, and none other department, agriculture, where the 30-40% one upaj is actually coming from, they don't talk about it. Second word is sangraha. Sangraha as a collector, we use the word collector, they actually are सहेजते हैं, रखते हैं, they are actually regenerating, but we always say that sangraha. So it's like a extraction is a major theme that is coming with it. That is not true. And third is the word we use है livelihood with the NTFP. Livelihood में या income का बात ज़्यादा कर रहे हैं, which is not actually linked with the NTFP. It's a whole nutrition things is coming from the NTFP. There are so many other things. So these words are really challenging, which we are creating a different kind of narrative, which should be there.
Yeah, and it goes with the gender stereotyping also. Ma'am, your introduction to the field.
Namita from FES. Namita from FES.
Yes. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Sorry, I spoke earlier, sorry.
My name is Sisir from Common Ground. I bring some experience from my earlier work with
experience?
No, with NRLM. So there is a binary. Now when you go to corporates, they think that much of money is actually going in the collection and the grading and those things. But when you organize that money realization doesn't happen in the consumer end. So if you invest on the consumer end to regulate those kind of through producers organizations, the transfer of the value realization doesn't happen to them. So what could be that mechanism that those kind of challenges can be really taken care of through an institutional framework?
Thank you. We're going to be quickly moving into solutions.
Yeah. One of the questions that I was reflecting upon on benefits. So my name is Vijay Pratap Singh from Ekgaon. We work on some of the commodities collections as well as marketing. So what I wanted to reflect on what Usha ji mentioned some time back on what is the contribution of value chain back to the benefit of the collector, sangrahakarta, whatever we want to call that. Until and unless, as Vineet was pointing out, the producers, primary producers or collector, whichever way we call them, is able to get in the primary value chain some level of validation at that level, which could be grading, sorting, or even bringing it at a single collection point, making it easy for transfer of the produce. That level, until unless that level of intervention is arranged through a producer organization or whichever entity we are talking about, there's no way we can ensure return of value chain back to the producer themselves. And the problem is that we have not focused enough on that side of the intervention. We think that this is somebody else's job, which is largely done, if we all know, done by the so-called middlemen that play that role. And of course, the most important part, financing, comes there, because they're the ones who are locally financing it. And if they don't finance it, nobody, and unfortunately institutional finance is not available at that level. Sure. So that is where the problem starts. So if institutional finance can be arranged, and the collection center becomes a segregation and sorting center, that primary value addition is done, and forward value chain will actually return to the
I like the way we are drifting towards solutions already. So probably we should, one or two last challenges. Yes.
Hello, this is Rishikesh from Tata Institute of Social Sciences, and I would like to put forward one challenge is that about communicating to the community that the way you have been doing trades or the way I've been managing the resources from the forest, convincing them that there is going to be a transition, there is going to be a market players will be involved in that processes, and spreading awareness about that, like make them ready about this transition and convincing them that this is going to be more beneficial for them, and how do we make them aware or communicate this transition in their own understandable language so that they can better participate and work.
So restate the benefits. What is it that they're going to get out of this? Right.
Convincing them that this is going to get a better outcome than or maybe more efficient, would say, managing the forest resources.
Okay. Another poll. How many of us think efficiency and market efficiency actually damages sustainability? How many of you feel efficiency promotes sustainability? I like divider houses. Good. Okay. All right. So these are divisive questions asked.
The question, can I elaborate it? Or not elaborate, but just ask you a question.
Okay. Please go ahead.
When we say efficiency, how are we defining it?
Right. So one
is it just in terms of value realized? And is that value realized only compared to competitors' value for similar products? Or here you are ascribing some value to the ecological benefit, societal benefit, plus other benefits. So that externality have you brought into the pricing and the value, and is there a market out there?
I haven't, but purposefully, because I wanted people to define it in their minds, what they mean by efficiency. And you're absolutely right. One way to look at efficiency is about production productivity. How much more can I extract, right? That's what I call as extract to value creation. But the other way to look at it is that if the benefits have to flow to the people who it actually belongs to, and if it is happening, like we were talking about, what percentage of that goes back to them, that's another type of efficiency. I have left it vague, yes, thank you. But I'm glad you brought this up.
No, I'm sorry. I think you didn't get my point.
I didn't get your
The
point.
price, ultimately, when people are paying a price, supposing you have a product which you get from other sources and from really the NTFP. Now, there may be some product which is cheaper.
Okay.
Which is, but then here there is an additional value. The fact that it is coming from, people who are marginalized.
Right.
Secondly, it is natural. These are all what you call premium products.
Right.
And they would normally have a premium over other similar products.
Produced products.
And does the market reflect that value?
Okay, got it. I think I got it. So.
Also add one point. All one upaj jo hai, NTFP, they are the organic one.
Right.
So where is our organic value is more in market, but they didn't get. So that is also the
the premium which should be coming for a natural product.
Yeah, can I? Yeah, hello.
Those who have not spoken till now, if you can come up with challenges, please. Yes, please.
Yeah. Yeah, hi all. I am Saurabh Bajpai, DGM from SIDBI, it is Small Industries Development Bank of India. So a lot of challenges have been discussed, and as a funder, definitely I will say that the credit linkage is the biggest challenge. Like Vidyut also mentioned about it, working capital is the problem. So the problem is mainly the reason is like if a farmer is there, he has policies, he has Kisan credit card, he has land, he can get this funding. Similarly, if some maybe the MSME or some industry is there, he also have a factory and also he can get funding. So these like NTFP tribals who are like involved in the NTFP trading and collecting and all, so they don't have anything to present to the bank, so that's why the funding is the biggest problem. And one more challenge which like nobody has covered till now, that is connectivity, because most of these areas, like the tribal areas, are like in tough terrain in the interiors. Like from SIDBI, in fact, we have supported around 5-6 such interventions through our NGO partners and all. Like one of them was in Leh Ladakh. So like first thing was it was very tough to reach the machinery there, and then once the machinery reached, so we found okay, the locals there, natives are initially they were suspecting that why these people are coming here, what intervention they want to do. So this connectivity and awareness has to be improved.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes.
I am SS Bhatt from Friends of Women's World Banking, India. The one thing is on the price discovery across the regions. I think that is affecting the most among this one. Second thing is on the quality of the produce, how they grade or rate the produce, that has to be seen. The third thing is the market access is also there. Then friend was mentioning about the financial access also. Then the infrastructure. The last thing is on the perishability. I think most of these producers are perishable, and the communities do not know the technical skills to process that and get a right price for that.
Thank you. I think, yes. Whoever has the mic, who's next?
One is the, I think, the technical skill to process. It's also there are not many innovations in this field, unlike agriculture, for decentralized.
Thank you. Yes, sir.
Welcome everyone. This is Saran from Tamil Nadu. So I work as a consultant to the.
Sir, if you can, you hold the mic here.
Yeah. Okay. This is Saran from Tamil Nadu. So I work as a consultant to the Tribal Welfare Department of Government of Tamil Nadu. So I have a couple of challenges mentioned. So right now we are working on a aggregated model for the MFPs. So the first challenge is the acceptance towards technology. I think technology not just in terms of IT and connectivity, but also in terms of market linking.
Sure.
So in terms of linking to e-commerce, for example, there's still some a skeptical mind towards accepting that, and also lack of awareness towards it. And the second part is, I think, also the lack of convergence between different departments at the local level. I think whenever there's an ideation or policy development at the from the top, I think there's lack of awareness and understanding for the requirement of it in the local level. I think local level in terms of, say, a local forest officer or a DFO wouldn't really accept and understand the fact that the types have to go inside the forest to make their living. So I think this lack of convergence is the biggest
Thank
challenge.
you. I want a request to make. How many of you still have challenges to add? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. I'll become biased that side now. Sorry. Can I make a suggestion to the 6 of you? Can you reframe them as solutions as we move forward? We have only another 25 minutes left, because we also want to leave the room with something to do about it, right? You will agree with me? Is it okay? So we'll pass on the mics to those 6 people, but please reframe rather than a challenge. What should we be doing? And my recommendation when you talk about solution, be specific and say we should. Probably begin your sentence by saying we should. Who's the we? We'll come to that later. Yeah, over to you, sir.
Sir, for example, if I am interested to have any NTFP product, major thing coming where to assess it. If I am going through Amazon, or then price becomes so high. And then assurance of quality. For example, I want, so can we suggest some mechanism, maybe through using ICT, or that these NTFP are accessible to the other sections of the society, both in terms of quality as well as price.
Sure. Thank you. Would you like a summary of all the challenges till now? Can I make a summary before we get into the rest of the 5 solutions? Is that okay? All right, we have spoken about quite a few things. I think if I were to categorize them, I'm sorry if in aggregated we may lose the essence of some of them, but I'm sure you heard each other's points. There are issues around sustainable resource management, data inventorying, the whole animal and human interactions. This affects the access to NTFP to the indigenous communities who had access earlier. There is a whole range of issues surrounding infrastructure, processing, connectivity. There are market failures in terms of price discovery, need for aggregation, value sharing, all of that. There's a big set of issues around value management. Who gets the benefit out of this? Who plays what role, whether it's intermediary financiers, and therefore ultimately what goes to the community, who it belongs to. Then there's a set of issues around capacities, knowledge, narratives, norms. I've bundled them together, but essentially we were talking about even the labels that we are giving to some of the things, what you mentioned in terms of, how do we call them? And lastly, the various actors who are in the scene of NTFP, are they all aligned to what is supposed to be happening. What we have in the screen is not the objective all of them have. Right? Sorry? Policies, regulations, thank you, were the other ones. Have I left out anything that you had made a point? And there's a whole range around credit, credit worthiness, ability to do price discovery, ability to look at where is the value coming, issue around defining efficiencies, for whom and from whose point of view are we defining this. These are some of the things which have come about. Anything? Innovation and technology. Thank you. Yes.
One most important thing is they are not having a GST registry, because if the buyer goes, then
Sure.
you could have a GST registration,
Yeah.
and you can have the FSI license.
So there's a whole range of market-related aspects. I would put it there. Taxation.
GST, you should have a GST registered company, and you should have a FSI license.
And there is also a factor of time. We are actually missing out a factor of time here.
Time and perishability
time
also.
and because there's a thing called cultural time and mechanical time. I
Sure.
think we need to have a sort of a discussion on this issue.
Yeah, and that also affects perishability in many senses.
One more thing,
Yes.
One more other very important aspect, processing loss.
Right. Yeah, processing loss again linked to, that's where innovations also play a role. Let's look at solutions now. So we will begin the sentence by saying we should. Can we have the backbenchers who have been putting up their hands?
I'm here, Ramchandru from Vasan Foundation. The problem I wanted to present, I'm just presenting as a solution. I think the consumers are just diminishing. We need to create more consumers through several mechanisms. I think that's my solution. How do we do it? We need to think about it.
So you're talking about consumers to the NTFP?
Consumers, yeah. Consumers are not just there.
Sure.
Can I just...
Can I?
Yes.
Yeah. So I can say it is, especially I'm talking about this Kendu leaf. I mean, in Odisha, there is a policy level roadblocks. Kendu leaf and bamboo are the nationalized product. So recently what happened, everybody knows that after Forest Right Act, that collection, management, selling power is given to the Gram Sabha. So because of that, 50 lakhs of Kendu leaf collected in last 2-3 months, and 5,000 families are involved in the whole process. But still Forest Department is not giving the permit to the Gram Sabhas. So half of it's already perished. The Kendu leaf is the biggest employment generation activities in this. Within 2-3 months, one family will earn at least 15 to 20,000 rupees. And the government is procuring in Odisha, Forest Department, 3 rupees 25 paisa. Whereas Gram Sabha is offering 5 to 6 rupees.
Right.
So I think there is need to work.
Sure.
In Maharashtra, they are getting 12, 13, 15 crores of rupees earning by the Gram Sabha. But in Odisha, that right is not given to the Gram Sabha.
Sure.
I think we should work unitedly.
On the policy matter. Yeah. Okay. As you're speaking, also remember what is collective action requirements. Yes, ma'am.
I'm Saida Nur Fatima, recently joined FES. So what I have seen working with the tribal communities is, because of the returns that we are drawing from NTFP, because very minimal returns get to the community. So most of the youth are not interested to continue in these fields. They are getting wage earner employment in nearby resorts. Likewise, we are just losing the traditional, one way the traditional knowledge and all. And the other way, the youth are getting, I don't see it as a non-workable areas, but still somehow they are getting misled. So we need to think that how do we retain youngsters in these particular areas.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I think this is a very important one, which is about the indigenous knowledge getting passed between
Because we are
generations.
talking here about inclusiveness and also sustainable economies.
Sure.
If we are not retaining our youth, then how do we sustain? And we are talking about commoning and all these things. So we need to seriously think about retaining both male and female. I'm not discriminating here, both men and women, youngsters. Thank you.
As a collective action, I'm Muthuvelayudam from Covenant Center for Development, working based out of Madurai. While we are working with the women self-help groups, we found large number of women who are all known for by birth field rat hunters. Since they know the identification of plant species, traders were given them the counter samples, asked them as much as possible to collect. They may not know where these herbs are going for, to whom, for which purpose. So then we work with them on providing them the logistic for quality production at the source, and directly link with the company like Dabur, Himalaya, Kevin Care, Kotakal, Patanjali kind of an organizations, where we began in 99 with the 300 villages. Now more than 100 villages, the women are doing more than 30 to 50 lakhs worth of business on their own. Out of 300 villages, 1/3 are like self-reliant. So they are all having GST, they are all having FSSI, they are all having even...
So Margaret sir, what is the solution you are trying to suggest from your experience?
The solution is a collective action, where the women, the collectors, were being organized as an institutions, and they were networked with the other like-minded groups, and then they were directly... It's a for-profit public limited company called Gram Mulge Company Limited. No, initially in 99 it's registered as a for-profit public limited company as a Gram Mulge Company Limited. The women self-help groups are the shareholders and the stakeholders.
Yeah, so one solution is build collectives and institutional mechanisms.
Yeah. So in the name of the institution we have certification, licenses, as well as...
so is it SHG who are the shareholders or the individual...
no, SHGs are the shareholders.
Okay, sure. Great. Thank you, sir. These are experiences, so please do meet if you would like to discuss further. Mics are passing around. Okay. Yeah. Yes, sir. Yes, please.
Hello, everyone. Hello, everybody. I'm Dr. Dushyant Gehlot from Ministry of Agriculture. I'm Assistant Commissioner in Ministry of Agriculture. So I'm dealing with agroforestry, bamboo, climate change issues. So I've heard challenges from all the dignitaries who are here, and it was a great brainstorming. Here the main thing is that how to increase the income of tribal women. So I heard about the self-help groups. So recently Government of India has come up with one solution of Krishi Sakhis. I don't know how many of you are aware about that Krishi Sakhis. It is a very innovative idea of Government of India, and so many Krishi Sakhis. Honorable Prime Minister has launched this program. And Krishi Sakhis means in case of NTFPs, if collector is there, if she is if a woman is collecting seeds, and especially if I'm from Agriculture Ministry, so we are more focusing on oil seeds. So if Krishi Sakhis are trained, capacity is being built for those Krishi Sakhis, they can further train and collect. They can form their group, and they are being paid several remuneration for collection of these activities. So this can be one of the things which can increase the income of the tribal women.
Right.
Secondly, you all must be aware that every allocation which we transfer, because I am dealing with funds only, so every allocation to state government being made under any scheme, there is a provision for earmarking money to SC, ST and general categories. Similarly, it is also mentioned in any sanction order of the Government of India that the fund should be, so many percentage should be go to women beneficiaries. So that has to be explored by the respective FPOs, SHGs or NGOs who are working in coordination with the state government to avail those facilities or those funds for these tribal women who are working in the field of NTPs. Secondly, the next thing we have come up with supporting setting up of nurseries. So there is a funding available for nurseries right from 10 lakh to somewhere 2 crores. So recently we had conversation with MOTA, Ministry of Tribal Affairs. Maybe someone is here or not, I don't know. But Tribal Affairs Ministry is also coming up together with the Ministry of Agriculture to transfer these funds and benefits to the tribal women who are forest dwellers there.
Right.
So this is the main theme, and these are some solutions which are available.
Sure.
And you can get it explored through the state governments and get benefit out of these schemes. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir. What I hear you say is that government has programs, set up new cadres, and schemes are there. Ensure you utilize it.
What is it?
Yes.
Yes. As a solution, it's a tough one, but ultimately when the medicinal plants, aromatic plants, going out of the village. There's one check at the national level, but there's also international trade happening. So unless access and benefit sharing mechanisms are really fixed, that money returns to the village, it's difficult one otherwise. So the fundamental part there is getting the property law established, property rights, either through FRA or so. Otherwise, the flow back will be very weak.
Right. I think that's one other challenge somebody had pointed out around IPR also. Yeah, thanks. And regulations relating to it. Whoever has the mic, put up your hand because, yeah, can we finish and then we'll come to it.
Yeah, very good evening. This is Dr. Hindata Manglani from Central University of Rajasthan. As I heard in the challenges, mainly which was coming out, the market linkages and the access. For the better market linkages and access, we have to give emphasis on the better packaging and labelings. As Usha ma'am was also mentioning about the value addition, how to be promoted it. So with the standard norms and the certifications, we can enhance it. And to promote this product, the trade fairs can be organized. As Sir was mentioning, it has the value for the international trade. Earlier, I was working with the government of Rajasthan to organize the management development programs for the export promotions for the rural area. So such locations, we can organize this kind of programs to train these people and how to connect these with the e-commerce so that they can also link up with the online marketing too. So these solutions can solve this better marketing features.
Sure. I think what I also heard, sir, you were mentioning is to create new consumers for NTFP products. Yes, sir.
My name is Jagruk Davra. I'm from Indian Institute of Management, Raipur. So I'm a professor and I'm an outsider to this group. And I bring to you an outsider's perspective as well. So, see, I've been listening to everybody in this room for the last 30 minutes or so. And what I've realized, I mean, as an outsider, is that you are still in the mindset of a seller's business. Whereas it's actually a market's business, right? So understanding consumer, I'm not saying that you shouldn't be. I mean, of course, you're all very passionate about what you do and you should be, right? But then it all starts with understanding the customer. Market is not very forgiving. It will not appreciate whether the product comes, I mean, why you have to give the consumer a reason why he or she should value a product that comes from these places. Right? Unless we understand the customer, unless we understand what he or she wants, you will not be able to come to practical solutions. I mean, that's my small submission. It's an outsider's perspective. I apologize if I...
It's a very much accepted. All views are open here. I think, can I take a quick poll on this? Usha, if you want to come in?
Just want to challenge that.
You want to challenge them? Okay, quickly. And then we will do a quick poll on this.
I think the entire consumerism and the way consumerism has been growing internationally, and that's why the development perspective is different, is that business creates markets. Advertising and marketing become the main thing to promote consumption. We talk about sustainable economy, we talk about a circular economy, we talk about various other things we ought to be talking about. But here I think that is the way to sell this product. If it's reproducible, if it's regenerating, and it has a value which, if it can be sustained. Therefore, overexploitation should not happen. Sure. So I think it's very complicated. I agree with the professor from Raipur that I think somewhere that whole marketing has not been adequately appreciated or focused on, but marketing how, not the way till now the world has been marketing.
Yeah, in this context also. Can I ask a quick vote question? I'll ask a question, it may help all of us to move forward. Are we really struggling here with multiple mental models? I think one mental model is taking a market approach. If you don't have a buyer's mentality, if you don't understand the consumer, then who are you selling to? Another mental model is that this is not agriculture, or this is not about, famously said, if one woman can deliver in 9 months, doesn't mean 9 women can deliver in 1 month. It's not about production, productivity, extractive efficiency. This is about nature and what nature is giving us. And therefore the mental model is about how that can regeneratively not just benefit, but also continue to benefit. And there is a role for the community in doing so, right? So these are two mental models. Are they actually clashing? How many of you agree these are actually in conflict and that is the reason we have a challenge? Or do you agree that this is perfectly fine, they need to exist? How many of you feel it's a clash?
No, when there is a greed, definitely that conflict will be there.
No, the reasons are many. How many of you feel there's a clash of mental models? There may be other mental models in operation. Okay. How many of you feel it's not a mental model issue, it is a simple value, organizing issue? Okay, thank you. So in this room, I mean, because we have just 1 hour and 15 minutes, of which we have only a few minutes left, the idea of this discussion is not we all conclude here. The idea is for us to explore all these angles so that we can come to conclusion later on. Yes, ma'am.
Sir, one issue I want. Somebody else is.
Yes, she's got the mic, sir. We'll come back to you once more.
Thank you so much. My name is Soma. I'm from Makam, Mahila Kisan Adhikar Manch. I'd like to take up the point about the intermediaries and link it to what your question for solutions. Intermediaries that are ecologically and economically ethical in their practices, we have no problems with. The problem arises with the ethics of practice. And women themselves emerge as intermediaries very often. Community members emerge as intermediaries. Their accountability becomes to their communities, and therefore they're compelled to work with their communities. In the context of institutions that we've been talking about, that can scale up as intermediaries, take on these roles. I think where the government, and I've been working with the government for many years, as well as with UNDP, where the problem of appropriate scale, location and technology comes up, is when we thrust things on people based on models that people themselves are not involved in constructing.
Sure.
So for example, we have women are asking, and community producer groups, men and women, women-led groups mostly, are asking for cluster-level solutions, cluster-level aggregation of their produce that SHGs can be members of and manage themselves. And then perhaps think of a scaling up to the block. The BDO and the district officials say, block pe bana do. Because that is the scale that they are envisaging, managing it themselves.
Right.
I think if we are invested in communities having sustainable models beyond government control, we need to invest in those kind of institutions, scales and technologies, and gender appropriate as well as scale technologies that can actually sustain at cluster level and communities can grow with.
Right.
That's rest my point here.
Brilliant, brilliant points. I think that's a point which we began. Janki was a great example of a community member becoming an aggregator who is a supplier. There was a mic there, and then I'll come back to you.
Sir, I am Dr. Purushottam Sharma, Principal Scientist and Head at ICR IGFRI Jhansi. Our institute is dealing with grasslands and water issues. One thing is that these commons have become highly degraded, sir. We need technical intervention to rehabilitate these, sir. In these technical interventions, our institute can help. We have developed state-specific plans to rejuvenate in terms of vegetation. For example, grasses. They need reseeding of the grasses. They need reseeding of the herbs. They need reseeding of the plants. So for that we can advise every state or every organization for that.
So you're saying there are technical solutions?
Technical solutions are there, and their carrying capacity has been reduced so much. It is less than one in most of the cases, sure. and they are but their grazing intensity is very high. Yeah. Capacity is less than one, but sometimes you see more than 40 or 50 animals are grazing on that. So continuously they are degrading. Obnoxious species are invading these commons land. So technical interventions, our institute can support any organization.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sir, we are dealing with honey. So last 10 years back, the wild honey price was very high.
But generalize your, if possible,
Yeah.
not only for honey.
Some other species also, cinnamon and other species. Now the other people, other than tribes and all, they are growing as a agriculture product or a horticulture product. Cinnamon plots are coming up and soap nuts plots are coming up. In this situation, these companies are just reaching out to the bigger farmer, and they are negligence of local tribal women. In this situation, there is a collectivization of women and the government also. For example, he has told that nurseries are coming up, but it is reaching to the bigger farmer who are having a large quantity of land.
Like a
so in such situation, aggregation is easy for them to the companies. So after 10 or 15 years later, these women will be neglected, and all companies are dependent on bigger farmers and bigger aggregators.
Thank you. Very important point. We have only 2 minutes left. I'm going to ask Raghu, would you like to summarize some of the points in terms of solutions, particularly the collective ones? No? Okay. How many of you still have points? How many of you are willing to spend another 10 minutes in this room? Extend by 10 minutes, because it is an important subject. And those of you who have other meetings, whatever it is, feel free to leave, but we'll continue up to 1:10. Is that okay? Yeah. Great. Who's got the mic? Yes, sir.
We are in the section of solutions, so I'll take something just to mention. I'm Dr. Shashank Gracharya. I'm the Director of Center of Good Governance from the Orissa, working in Gopunda Academy of Administration. When we are talking about solutions, I just want to build a small case of less than 30 seconds or say about 1 minute. See, immediate need gratification is the basic characteristics of these primary collectors. And perishability is another characteristics of the products that we are dealing with. So a simple solution of having it stored for some time, making it partially processed at the local level could be an easier solution which could really give a better return to the people. I'm talking this thing based on our own experience in Sundargarh district, where just for storing these moa, these things for 4 to 5 months, the price get increased to about 4 to 5 times, and say from March to October. So these are small and the soft credit link, taking the kind of innovation or whatever, even challenging to the excise laws and all, could really resolve most of the problems of the NTFP collectors. Thanks.
This is Shinoy Matthew. I'm from Arya.ag. We are a large agri-tech value chain integrator. Taking a cue from what Batsar said, while we store close to 7 million commodities and extend 2,000 crore worth of farm loans, our presence in this NTFP is very, very limited. The reason is our knowledge about it is very limited, because we don't know what is the quality about it and how does the price in that market operate. While the nuts and bolts of the storage science or the finance to the farm commodities, this principle should operate same here. But the challenge for us is there are occasionally calls come to us, can you store this or can you finance it? But where we fail ourselves is like in not understanding the thing. So that the ecosystem-wide approach, using the existing these integrators and connecting them to the entities here could be a solution.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hi, this is Ayan from Industry Foundation. Basically, we works on a 6C model, where we say we create, then we construct, then we capacity, we give a market access channel, and then connect and capital. So what means, we have a practical solutions which we have done in Orissa, and it's just going on. It's a biodegradable value chain which we established, and overall what's happening now, and from the collection stage, this value addition has been started, and they are generating income from the value addition itself. So from each stage, there is a value addition is happening, and where an incremental income is also been taken into consideration. And the most important part, we have to put more times on innovation on a particular product, because a product is made, then you have to innovate it. As in our MBTs which I'm talking about, they are now at a stage where one of the product is already been export compliant, and they are now ready to go for export markets. So we start with local market, then it goes to national, then it goes to international.
Okay, thank you. Got the other mic?
Sir. Yes. Recently, sir, the Ministry of Tribal Affairs has started this Vandhan Kendra. There's a multiple Vandhan Kendras in open in these 3 different states. There is played a vital role in this collection, processing, and marketing. So why we are not going for that linkages with this Vandhan Kendra? Because my colleague was saying there is no the shareholder of the farmers and collectors. That there is only shareholder are exist in this Vandhan Kendra model.
Right.
So we should focus on what the existing structure is there.
Right. But I think what I hear from everybody else is that some places it works, some places it doesn't. Where it works, probably we should work.
But there is need to work on that, sir. No. Why they are investing this money on this? No, Vandhan Kendra so much and
I think we have the benefit of Ministry of Agriculture representative. Maybe he can.
No, we think that for premium prices, we all were discussing that price premium, how to get good price. I'm loud enough. So, how to get price premium for that particular NTFP is one. I think he has pointed out very good thing that most of the products, those are in forest area, is organic. It is by default organic. But who will say it is organic? So you need to make cluster of say for 10, 20 farmers or means beneficiaries in that particular area and get those produces certified. Certified for organic.
Right.
There are 2 types of certifications. One is indigenous certification for domestic market, which is called participatory guarantee system, PGS certification. Another is with APIDAM, that is third party certification, which is also available for export market. Means at par with IFOM standards and all those. So that certification can be extended for NTFPs. And I think for NTFPs and domestic certification with PGS also beneficiaries will get a good price for those produced in the name of organic. So that would be, and organic certification is entirely a process certification. It is not a product certification. So it is, I think it is feasible for these kind of products also.
Thank you.
Excuse me. Sure. I mean, instead of having a separate organic certificate, separate
natural.
I mean, can you not for NTFP have just certifying units at the places where they are really grown, just so that people just have to go to one place rather than go to again. NTFP by definition is organic.
So Vijay, is it connected with this? Related. Justin is waiting, but yeah, if it's connected, go ahead. Yeah.
So one of the questions that you mentioned about is certification. Certification is one type of question, and ma'am, what you're talking about is linked to traceability, because origin of the produce itself is the very big, very large validation. Now the problem with all of these ideas always remains that which is the institutional level where it will be implemented, through what it will be implemented, and these have compliances, these have processes, these have systems needs to be put in place. And it is where that area where I think the whole value chain disintegrates, because that level of institutional intervention is not there. What you have is a large number of middlemen who are involved, and they are doing a fantastic work, including financing as well as aggregating, sorting, and to some level transporting and managing the entire paperwork for that. Right. The problem is that these, and I was coming to ma'am what you were mentioning earlier, is that institutional interventions where are the weakest. One Upaj Kendra or any other FPOs are being proposed in the forest produce domain is the weakest, and that is where the effort needs to be much more, because what you will end up doing is that if you co-opt these middlemen and part of your structure, which is a very large shift, this is one of the largest issue where we create these distances. We co-opt these middlemen who have the expertise to manage this business is a better model than trying to convert one woman or a farmer into an entrepreneur and then training them for 2 years and 3 years, and the institution falls apart after some time funding is over.
Thank you.
So I think that's with the area where we need focus, including technology focus.
I think what I hear, sir.
So that certification, what your concern is, we are focusing through that only. It is the only thing which is being done by farmers or beneficiaries themselves.
Right.
No middlemen, no institutional separation. they make their own regional council. Say for we 10 people.
So it's a
are here, we will
self-certification.
make our own regional council.
Okay.
But it is beneficial for NTFPs to get.
You don't agree? Very good. Okay. You don't need to agree. That is okay, sir.
It's a very exploitative middlemen, sir.
Right.
So anyway, they will.
So, can I put a poll question? How many of us agree, just 1 minute, Sean. How many of us agree that we need broad frameworks but different formats in different contexts? How many of us agree we in Delhi should decide what the format should be and it should be uniform across India? Okay, I'm the only fool. Okay, good. All right, Isha.
No, I just wanted to raise one side on the production side. I think the production of NTFP is also getting affected. Earlier it has been shared, 2 points basically. One is the invasive species issue and the other one is the monoculture in the forest. So invasive species issue, I think it can be managed well with communities using community forest rights management committees and others to enhance the production. Also raising nurseries and making a forest biodiverse will be easier for community forest rights management committees. So eco-restoration for livelihoods will be another paradigm for shift for forest management that's needed.
Okay. Sir, I just wanted to recognize the point that you're making, that government is making efforts to create pathways, create methodologies, create cadres to help in this. And it is about how do we utilize, how do we work with the government on that.
ये जो इंस्टीट्यूशनल स्ट्रक्चर की बात चालू है तो CFR के जो ग्राम सभा है, it is a small ग्राम सभा, it is the institution and they got the PAN card in our area, they have GST numbers, they have one unit, that gram sabha they are running the honey processing unit and that is for under Vandan Kendra, it is controlled, and they have FSI certificate and all this thing, and that institution is a gram sabha because they have rules. All NTFP is controlled with the gram sabha. What are the rules, how they collect and how to sell. So that is already doing that solution.
So Morgan was also giving us an example, like how they are collecting. Yes, sorry, you've been waiting for me. Sorry. Vincent first, either of you.
Okay, so which is going. I'm also going to share some experience of what we are doing as of now.
As a solution to all of
this.
Yeah.
So the thing is, I feel we have to talk something from the community's point of view as well, because a proper governance model is also very crucial for a sustainable enterprise, which is also doing sustainable harvesting. And I think a proper governance model can start from FRA. It has to have a proper FRMC, which is Forest Resource Management Committee, which can avoid over harvesting, even if there is a good market. And that also has to work along with the VFC. And for this, we also need to have a lot of capacity building for the community, because the community owns the forest. They know what they are harvesting, how much they are harvesting, and how they are harvesting. So we need to give a little bit of capacity building so that they know the broader picture. And we have to give them some data-driven solutions as well. And when it comes to the market, I think we are not selling just the product, but we are also selling the story behind the product. Right. And I think that is what will get good customers, because we have to sell the product in the right market. And to reach the right market, we need to know the story as well. And coming to the certification, I think PGS is a very good model, and there is something called the PGS Wild, which can certify NTFP as an organic, because by default it's organic. Right. So you cannot explain the customer how it is organic. So PGS Wild is in process, and if that can be implemented, that will work out.
Thank you.
And one more thing I want to touch upon was the decentralization and the decision making, because a proper enterprise can build a proper livelihood. For that, there should be a lot of decision making from the community. They elect everything. They decide the pricing actually. They decide the price for their own produce. That's what is very crucial. Right. Then we have to talk about the customers. So that's what I wanted.
Very last point from you, sir. Yes, please.
Yeah, thanks for being the last, because I know the least, I think, of NTFPs in the whole room. I think this was a wonderful discussion. what it might have missed out is what I will use the term first and then give two examples because the terms can mean nothing. Extended value addition via technological innovations which can have a very scalable market. Now, I know I'm sounding very, very crassly commercial, and I'm crassly commercial. And two examples are, there is somebody in Himachal Pradesh making toothbrushes, cups and plates from pine needles. And
pine needles.
Pine needles. So there's a significant innovation there, and this has an export market. It's got a turnover of around 5 crores. So just imagine the substitute for plastic, and what a headache we are getting rid of in the process. It's slightly more expensive now. It has to scale up like solar and wind to bring the prices down. And the second is somebody in Bangalore making straw, which is again has a large export market, from coconut leaves, and now is extending it to pineapple, whatever it's, I don't know whether it's a leaf or whatever it's called. So there's a role of these kind of value addition
and innovations also.
And innovations which can significantly scale things. And I know there's already been a discussion about the consumer and exploitative and all that stuff, but somehow I think this is a topic which I thought I'll introduce. It's not been a part here. Thank you.
Very last word from Mr. Bhatt. We have to close. I promised 1:10. We're already late.
Yes, I'll be brief. The thing is on the certification and the marketing and other things. I think the collectivization, the producer collectives is the best example. We have seen a lot of good examples in say Uttarakhand, Nilgiris, then in Chhattisgarh and other places, wherein the women collectives, they manage, they make the local government, they are branding, they are getting the certification. Because they are 1,000 members or 500 members, they are having that bargaining power to create the product which is required by the market and also develop the branding. In that way, the producers collectivization as a farmer producer collective or a producer organization with local community members who have real say in production, collection and also processing will be the best way. And under that, the government of India, NABARD and the GIZ, they had brought an UPNRM program, umbrella program for National Resource Management, wherein some of these FPOs were assisted. They are doing very well now, even though that program is over, say, about 5-6 years back. I think one in Kanker in Chhattisgarh, who are doing the custard apple business, they had issues, but still they are able to manage now. Right. And one in Uttarakhand, Devbhumi, which he was referring to, on honey and even other small bamboos and other structures. Right. In that way, there are very good examples of producer collectives, farmer producer organizations, and then finance also counts. In that, even FWWB has a role in making almost 20 FPOs connected with these non-timber forest producers to scale their businesses. Yeah.
Thank you, sir. I'm going to leave you with a couple of thoughts. This has been a very, very diverse discussion, and I want us to end with hope that there is potential. We heard solutions right here, which will address the 5 women that we were talking about, whose lives can be better off with NTFP. I'm dyslexic, so I get mixed up. So NTFP can make a difference, right? There is hope, but there is a lot to be done. And in our organization, we talk about complex problems like this, and we ask these 3 questions. Who cares? Who pays? Who benefits? If these 3 happen to be completely different stakeholders, then we have a truly complex problem that we'll need to solve. And here we are balancing sustainability, and very interestingly, there were discussions where we said the community knows, and we also said community does not know, we need to build their capacity. Does the community know but is unable to do? Or does the community know, as sir was saying, needs a technical intervention? Right? There are a lot of mental models we are struggling with, whether it's a market-led mental model or whether it is a technical productivity problem. I think there is a lot that we are dealing with, and that's why it's complex, right? Thank you for spending your time here. Thank you for spending extra 10 minutes here. May I request a big round of applause to all of you and the great partnership. Oh, thank you.
Thank you so much, Shiv, for bringing us all together on this really challenging topic. And not just consolidating the challenges, but leaving us with the hope that we can all together build an inclusive economy with regard to NTFPs. I would, for this beautiful facilitation, we would want to felicitate Shiv. And I would want to call upon on stage Namita from FES to please felicitate him. Thank you so much. Thanks, Namita. Thanks, Shiv, and thanks everybody. The lunch is waiting for you. I hope these extra 10 minutes.